Well, it's 8 o'clock and we're at the intersection. So good to see you here this morning. The mayor is with us, or going to be with us. Everybody be watching for him and wake me up if he signs in. So I don't know how much time we're going to have before, because it's a city council day, and I can't count on him staying long. And we need to honor and respect that out of compassion for him to get ready for, the next thing on his schedule. So, but we will go ahead and have an announcement or two as long as we've got. Doug, tell us about the NAMI walk this weekend.
It's going to be fabulous. Great weather, San Antonio Zoo, wonderful place to come together. We're walking to break the stigma of mental illness and to walk together in community. I put the link in the chat. Register to come on out, but if you don't register, you can actually roll out of bed and come down and we'll register you at the gate. So you don't even have to think about it. Just come on down. It is a lot of fun and you'll enjoy it. And the only thing is you can't bring your dog, but you can bring your grandkids or your kids.
Thanks, Doug. Candace, did you want to announce quickly the event at the seminary? Yes. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Anne. Good morning, everyone. My name is Candace Brock, and I serve as Associate Vice President for Fletcher Seminary. I will also be dropping this information in the chat, but this coming Monday at 9 a.m. at Bethel AME Church, we will be hosting what we call Pass the Kleenex, and it's going to be a group session talking about healing and how we as leaders can help not only heal, help assist our community, but also how can we deal with the trauma that we've sustained over the last 2.5 years. So hopefully you can join us. I will be dropping all the information in the chat.
Thank you, Candace. Lauren, did you have something from the food bank?
Good morning, everybody. It's not until November, but so I hate to take the time, but Feeding Hope is coming up November 13th, and will be hosted by the wonderful folks down at the Soul Center. So thank you, Anne.
You're welcome. How did September go in terms of hunger awareness?
Yeah, Hunger Action Month was really great. Wonderful campaign. And as we go into the new year, we're just excited to help everybody work together to create a secure San Antonio. That's kind of our new direction. So thank you.
Thanks to the food bank for doing all of that for us. You guys are the best. Any other quick announcements while we're waiting for our briefer this morning?
I have one. I'm going to put it in the chat, the tour for the domestic violence shelter, and we have it set up for October 27th. Please share it, register. It's going to be a really informative and inspiring event for us to take.
Thank you. Thank you for making those arrangements. We are seeing, and I want to say thank you to folks, we are seeing some more participation when it comes to domestic violence and the collaborative work. So following the briefing that domestic violence brought to the intersection, we have had some more participation, but I'm not saying that to, get you off the hook, but I'm grateful for those who have stepped up since then. So thank you. Any other quick announcements? I see that Dr. Keeley has something up. Look how bold she is. She just throws that up on screen. Go, Keeley.
This is Leonard. I wanted to mention that today and tomorrow also kicks off the Collaborative Commission on Domestic Violence, their symposium. And Friday, Mark Wittig and the Executive Book Review is occurring.
Thank you. And I'm so glad you brought up the Domestic Violence Conference. Can you put that into chat for people, that they have that information?
You bet.
As well as the book review. But
you bet.
That does start today. So that's important information on that conference.
Good morning, and good morning to all of you who are on today. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we are rejoicing at all of the incredible collaboratives that are coming together to make our community safe and compassionate. I just wanted to say that every month I do Matters of the Mind, a community conversation on trauma and mental wellness. It is on the first and third Tuesday night of every month. This month, we're talking about 4 elements of psychological safety. All you have to do is hop onto Zoom and you will be incredibly empowered and blessed.
Thank you, Dr. Keeley.
And Anne,
You're
I just
welcome.
wanted to also ask everyone to save the date for the 2nd annual Welcome Walk and Festival on Saturday, November 12th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Denman Estate Park. And that will be San Antonio residents walking alongside new immigrants and refugees, welcoming them into our community.
Thank you, Nadia. And I made a good connection this morning before the intersection began. And so I encourage the 2 of you, Dilly and Nadia, to connect in chat behind the scene. Dilly's doing some great work with Afghan refugees at Trinity Baptist, and she's interested in communities of welcome. So look at that. The host is encouraging, behind the scene chat, but that's how we can also connect. That's I think one of the best things about at the intersection is making those new relationships and making those connections. So any other quick announcements?
Hello, this is Prabhakar from Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh. October is declared as a Hindu Heritage Month. And as you know, some time back, we presented the Hindu Darshana exhibition. That exhibition is traveling San Antonio Library, and it is staying in each library 1 week. Right now, it is in Stone Oak Library. I'll put the information in the chat also. Thank you.
Thank you. We should have the mayor every week. We get more people to show up. How does that work? Any other announcements?
I have one. This is Mark Wittig, and some of y'all are receiving an email from me that I get from Leonard, things in the news about mental health. And if you would like to receive this email, just get me your email, and I'm happy to do so.
All righty. Thanks, Mark. And I see that the mayor is with us. So we're going to jump right in because I don't know if he can stay past 8:30 today. So we want to honor that. And we want to get to those top 10 game changers from his perspective. Mayor, I asked everyone here to prepare for today and sent them the 6-minute video on isolation, social connections, and compassion that you did recently. So they watched that, but I also asked everyone to bring with them their number one, from their vantage point, the number one game changer that they see happening in our city, whether that be through the city structure, partnership, or whether it's out in the community. So I'm going to remind everybody and invite you right now to put into chat your number one game changer that you see that's happening in San Antonio. We're going to save that chat and we'll send it to your office, Mayor, so you have that information as well. I'm going to invite everybody too to be bold. The mayor showed up and he's going to show us his face. And so I'm going to invite everybody who's bold and brave to open up their videos so that we can see community this morning and be as bold and brave as our mayor. So Mayor Nirenberg, so great to see you this morning.
You too, Ann. Good to see everybody. Good morning.
If you're ready, we're just gonna, I wish I could remember how Johnny Carson did this, but that's showing my age, right? But I can't remember. But we're gonna just start at 10. Is that okay with you, Mayor?
Okay, these are, these are not in any particular order. So,
okay.
So yeah, let's start at 10.
10. So they're not in a particular order, but it just will be more fun, right? Okay,
yes.
And everybody can kind of do a drum roll on their desk. Drum roll, number 10.
welcome walk going into its second year. And I see Nadia here. You all know exactly what we're talking about. We have is it November?
Nadia.
Yes, November 12th, Saturday, November 12th.
November 12th, and we should have we should have folks from the federal government coming because they have taken a look and interest in what we're doing here as a great demonstration of a compassionate community that are dealing directly with the challenges of migration.
Great.
Number
9.
Number 9, public arts funding in San Antonio in our 2022 bond has moved to 1.5% of the total capital spending in our community. And that sets a new standard for public arts support in our city, a huge jump in previous funding from previous years.
And Mayor, how do you see that the arts are a game changer?
Well, as we all know, arts and culture in San Antonio are where we derive our identity, our competitive advantage, if you will, economically. It's also, frankly, how people know San Antonio as a city in the world. We've been recognized as one of the unique American cities, and it's not because we have better sidewalks. It's because we have very unique art and historic and cultural heritage, and that work deserves continual uplifting.
Thank you.
And as was just said in the chat, they do all kinds of things for community beyond just being markers of our heritage, and they help us psychologically, they help bring us together, they help us heal, as was just stated in the chat. I didn't see who said that, but very appropriate.
Thank you. So that was number what? 8? Number 7.
No, you only gave me 2. I'm on number 8.
Okay, number 8.
The complete remake of the San Antonio International Airport.
Wow. Tell us more about that.
So if anybody's been around San Antonio for the last 40 years, you know that the San Antonio Airport has been the source of great debate. We've wanted to move it. We've wanted to basically have an airport that befits a world-class city, an international city, which we are, and our airport has frankly been very underwhelming. But I started an effort back in 2017 to really identify where our airport should be. Number one, I thought my guess was that it probably could stay at the same place and grow into an international airport that is a top flight airport. And that's true, we found that. So we now have a $2.5 billion makeover of the airport underway that's going to grow airfields, new gates, new terminals, processing center. It's going to be basically a brand new airport on the site that it's at right now. We will be able to fly to Europe, to Asia, anywhere we want to from San Antonio, provided that demand is there for it.
I want to say amen to that. That's been one of my personal, like, what's the deal with our airport? So yay. So number 7.
The SA Forward plan, which has so many aspects to it. This is our mental health, our public health strategic plan that runs the gamut from mental health funding and support to trauma care, to domestic violence intervention, and even changing the way we respond to policing incidents, changing the way we respond to some emergency incidents. So the SA Forward plan was modeled with and for community, and it's underway with our new public health director, our Metro Health Director, Dr. Claude Jacob.
Great. We'll have to have him come and talk about that at the intersection.
He would be great.
Yeah.
Highly recommended.
In fact, what I'm thinking here, you're giving us the list of our next 10 at the intersection. So we'll be right on that same page with you. Okay, drum roll, number 6.
Number 6, we are in year 3. So this is a broader effort, but it's very significant that we just passed the first ever, because of a charter change, the first ever affordable housing bond in the city of San Antonio. I see many folks who have leaned into that effort. Paul Furukawa is here. We have the largest affordable housing fiscal year budget in our city's history. So we are all in and have been for a number of years on ensuring that everyone in San Antonio has a safe, affordable place to live in dignity.
Can I share some data or an equation that I heard just this last weekend? That on the available acreage in our congregations alone, we could build 100,000 units. And according to SHIP, we need 28,000. So if the faith community did their part, we could make that happen. Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing. And let me thank everyone here, because everyone's played a role. About 4 years ago, our faith community came together and proclaimed this to be a matter of greatest importance for our faith community as well. And there's been a lot of work in the grassroots among our congregations to make people aware of the issue, et cetera. So let me thank everybody here, Wendy, so many folks who have been directly involved with this effort. I can't name all of you, obviously. It would take all the rest of my time, but thank you everybody for your efforts.
We had a gathering this last weekend in San Antonio of folks from all over the country, faith leaders. It was called Property with a Purpose. And they came here to see what we were doing in this specific regard. And so there's movement. Number 5, drum roll.
Number 5 is one, unfortunately, that kind of got buried during all of the other news, but we now have a climate sustainability fund that will be annually contributing to help us implement climate action and adaptation goals, roughly $10 million a year that will be dedicated in the city's revenue to identify resiliency projects to ensure that we're meeting the goals of the climate action adaptation plan. So that was a feature, in my opinion, one of the 2 or 3 most important parts of the FY23 budget approval that happened a couple of weeks ago with the city council.
That's good to hear. And we've got congregations who are stepping up to be resiliency hubs. I mean, I think that's like an easy shift. And if there's funding to help make that happen, even better. So number 4.
Well, so you kind of stole my thunder on the number 4, and because you mentioned the hubs, resiliency hubs, as well as homeless services hubs are being implemented right now. The resiliency hubs, we actually programmed as a finding and an action item from the emergency preparedness committee that I put together after the winter storm. And so we have funded the pilots in 4 quadrants of the city. There will be 4 hubs created. We're going to study those, and if there is more geographic regions we need to cover, we'll do that. But we also have hubs being created, hubs that are already in operation for homeless services to really make sure that we're meeting people where they're at, that there's services available, whether they're from, permanent supportive housing services to mental health, behavioral therapy services, et cetera. So those are part of our city's operations now. And let me also say, just as part of this one, we've made a pivot now. As you know, for the last 20 years, our homeless response system has really been coordinated around shelter services, getting folks rehabilitation and then prepared to move into housing. We're now actually operating housing first models as well as shelters. So there's a huge amount of the funding I previously mentioned for housing services for the establishment of permanent supportive housing. That is housing to get folks immediately off the street, whether or not they have been rehabilitated or not, and make sure they're provided services while they're in their homes, first off, to ensure that they have a safe roof while they're receiving restitution and rehabilitation services.
Amazing. Just amazing. Number 3.
Number 3 is the Migrant Resource Center. You may have seen that there has been a ton of news, some positive, some I wouldn't say negative, but critical maybe, of what we're doing from a political standpoint. But I maintain that this is a humane and compassionate response to the challenge that's presented with the disorganized immigration system that we currently live under. And until we fix that part of it policy-wise, and I don't know anybody who's holding their breath waiting for that to happen, we have a system in San Antonio that's becoming a model in other parts of the country to respond to a human need in a human way. I'm very proud of it. It's a collective effort. Many folks on this call are involved, but I hope as you've seen these news stories come out that you're proud of your city, because we're being recognized nationally, and I would say even internationally, about how we're responding in a compassionate way. I think it's a great demonstration of who we are.
And especially with the faith community. It's part of, welcoming the stranger, that deep hospitality. It's just the right thing to do. Drum roll, number 2.
So I said that they weren't in any order, but I'm really having a hard time between number 1 and number 2. And just because we're on this call, I'm going to give you 1A and 1B. So let me go with 1B. 1B is the Ready to Work initiative, which all of you are probably aware of now. It's a sales tax initiative that for the next 5 years, employers are coupling with training providers, educators, and human services, social service organizations to ensure that we have roughly 40,000 people in our community who are unemployed or underemployed, largely heads of households who have been living in poverty, have the opportunity and support system around them to train for jobs that will be well-paying and that will provide career mobility. This is the largest effort of its kind in the country's history at the local level. When I talk about this, and I just did at the Department of Treasury on Monday, people are shocked about what we're doing. San Antonio is being recognized very well nationally because of us being able to put our money where our mouth is in terms of trying to break cycles of poverty. I have huge hopes for this program. It's obviously not going to be all smooth sailing. We've got a lot to learn, and there will be kinks to work out. But this is huge for an issue that we've struggled with for generations, and that is cyclical poverty, where children are raised with parents who are forced to work 4 or 5 jobs just to put food on the table, and therefore are less likely themselves to receive the kind of environment and education that will help them become career mobile and break out of the cycle of poverty. Thereby, this cycle continues to repeat itself and expands exponentially. We're intervening as a community with our public support to break those cycles directly. And so there's a lot of eyes watching San Antonio to see if we're successful. I think we put together the right team and the right program to do it. And so Ready to Work to me is something I think is definitely in my top 2.
Or 1-ish. But
Yeah.
I'm looking at this list. And we can really look at this list in terms of solid compassion efforts, in our city, from, welcoming to the climate, environment, to work, to those without permanent shelter. I mean, we could see all of those, and it's gonna be messy. Wouldn't it be nice, right? I remember when we were opening Haven for Hope, the Archbishop, that was right when he came into town, right? He was new. He came and did a tour, at Haven for Hope, then met with staff, and we were all going a little nuts trying to get Haven open. It was not easy work. And bless his heart, he looked at all of us and he said, you know, this is hard work. And if it wasn't, it would already be done.
Well, and that's why it hasn't been done, and is that all these things unfortunately have to be done in a political space. And I don't use political as a pejorative. It's just stuff that, you know, we have to do together as a public, and that requires politics. And unfortunately, it's going to require taking risks, and it's going to require us being willing to do things for which we will not be able to take credit. You know, I think the measure of our success won't be taken while we're, frankly, definitely not while I'm in office, maybe not while I'm alive, but in 30 or 40 years from now, you'll see a different San Antonio because of the efforts we're making right now.
Yeah, that group that was here this past Saturday, one of the topics was about this kind of transformation and work. And, you know, it was asked, how many people here know about the Reformation, you know, like in that history, you know, and of course, everybody, yeah, Renaissance, Reformation. And I don't know about you, but I would like my children and grandchildren to say one day, I was there for the transformation, when we became better people for the better good. And I was there, and it's not just in a history book, right?
Well, and this is one of those projects that I think makes San Antonio stand out in the world, that we're taking this on together as a community. You know, there's an old adage that says a society becomes enlightened when old men plant seeds or plant trees under which they will never sit. This is under that category.
Yes, it is. So your number 1A.
Number 1A, you know what it is, and it's I guess we're now calling it the Peace Project, and that is recognizing over the last few years, which are really just examples of challenging times that we've frankly had our entire lifetimes. Our communities have had significant collective trauma, spoken and unspoken, as a result of the pandemic, as a result of the racial reckoning, as a result of you know, challenges related to winter storms and disasters. But frankly, we haven't spent many years being alive where we haven't seen this trauma. We're just now beginning to talk about it and identify it, acknowledge it exists. And so San Antonio is now leading an effort nationally to help people get competent in addressing it. So I'm proud to say that we have funding in this year's budget to develop a curriculum for community nationally that can help us, again, acknowledge, identify, and help address, as community leaders, as neighbors, issues of collective trauma, which lie at the root of so many of our challenges, whether it's social isolation, you know, mental health issues, you name it, gun violence. These issues are symptomatic of suffering that goes farther upstream, and a lot of that, I would say, almost primarily deals with trauma. So my hat's off to you, Ann, for helping us organize around this. The U.S. Surgeon General is embarking on a national campaign to deal with issues related to social isolation. He and I and our team have become friends. We're trying to partner with him. He is very excited about the project that we're doing. And so the number one game changer for me is that San Antonio, again, if we're known in the world as a city, what are we known for beyond just the Alamo and the Riverwalk? Well, it's beginning to be things like the Migrant Resource Center, our Welcome Walk. Hopefully it will be now this Peace Project. So people are knowing San Antonio as being a compassionate place where, you know, community works together. And that to me is, you know, the best kind of marketing you could ever get. So not that it's about marketing, but happy to say that the game changer is now the Peace Project.
Thank you. And we're right at 8:29. So I'm just going to invite everybody because we want to totally respect your time. I'm going to invite everybody in a minute to open up their audio, but I'm going to ask you one last question, Mayor, because you always say what's missing is the call to action. So to this group of faith and community leaders, what would you say is your call to action to them?
You always put me on the spot, Ann.
I know, but then we get real stuff, right? Yep.
Call to action is to support this peace project. We're going to be working to obviously develop the curriculum, but knowing that there is an audience who's going to make use of it to put it out into your communities and congregations is really important. It's not always easy to navigate our city bureaucracy. I can say that as a mayor. But the fact that we're doing this shows a great deal of faith and willingness to take risks on the part of our community. And so we've got to follow through now and begin to lean into the project and utilize it within our communities. And if you're interested in the development of it, contact Ann.
There, you just threw that one back, right? So I want to invite everyone to open up their mic. And so you're going to hear a cacophony, Mayor. It's not going to all be clear. So to whatever you want to say to the mayor, whatever that is, we're all going to say it at once. You can also clap and everything else. But everyone, your mic's open. Thank you, Mayor, for doing what you're doing.
Thank
For
you.
all of
you,
your hard
Mayor.
work.
Thank
We
you so much.
appreciate
Incredible
you and
work.
for
Thank
doing
you.
Hey,
Blessings
Doing
a wonderful
upon
job.
your work.
Thank you so much. We
Yes.
appreciate
For
you.
you daily.
Thanks, y'all.
Pray
But
for
before
you.
thank you very much, everybody. Before I depart, I saw on the screen, I just want to introduce everybody to my stepmom and my dad, who was in the picture just briefly. Carol Noble's here, my stepmother, and then my dad was loitering in the background somewhere. So they've joined the effort.
See, he has a dad who loiters as well. I have one of those too. So thank you,
Good
Mayor.
to see everybody.
Thank you for leading.
All right.
Anyone who
Bye,
wants
y'all.
to hang around, bye. Anyone who wants to hang around, hang around.
Bye.
Stay open for another 15 minutes and have some
Well done,
nice
Ann.
conversation. Now we might all want to close our mics for a minute so that we're not over talking, but I don't know, let's use the raise the hand thing. If you have things that you want to add or reflect on or question about, thank you for putting things in chat. And we still have time. If you haven't put a game changer from your vantage point into the chat, you can still do that. So Bert, what you thinking, man? Let's see, Bert, we need to unmute you. We can't hear you. Here you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh,
We got
okay. I
you.
won't take that long. I was out on a walk. So obviously I got dropped off a couple of times. I didn't hear the top 10 things from the mayor. But my vantage point always, since we come from so many different fields of interest, experience, but have that compassion, find a way, I've found, find a way to reach that vision through your own resources, your own levels of experience, and then just attract others. I do that all the time in the city. And a lot of times, so sometimes we focus too much on that mission rather than that heart of the vision. And if we do that in compassion, I think we'll all be successful. I did catch a lot of good info from the mayor there. I'm going to be at a few of those events. I know it's going to be great. All the stuff that you guys are doing is just phenomenal. I think that's just super that we have folks that are really that passionate and involved. I'll get off my soapbox.
Thanks, Bert. Beverly. You're
You know,
muted.
mutes,
There
yes.
you go.
Good morning, everyone. Great. And again, so inspirational. I just wanted to let everyone know that tonight at St. Paul on the corner of North Center and Hackberry, there is going to be a huge community meeting about what people would like to see in the future of Ella Austin Community Center. So I would truly love, because one of the things we are really pushing is resiliency and peace, for it to be a different kind of community center. So please come, give your input for tonight. And I just wanted to let everybody know that that's happening. Thank you guys for everything.
You know, Beverly, I think Donna was on here. Is Donna still here? But you might want to contact Donna Costa at NAMI Bridges and have her put all that information out to the cohorts. You know, the bridge
Wonderful.
cohorts.
Yes.
I know that there would be folks there who would be really interested in that. So that might be one outlet too.
Thank you so much. And I'll do that right now while we're on here. Thank you.
Cool. Wendy.
Lower my hand. On Monday night, and we had talked about this before, and several of you were there, we did our first Faith Lifts, everyday stories from multi-faith voices. It really was a game changer. And I want to offer the idea anyway of developing a multi-faith speakers bureau, if you will. And that sounds a little stuffy, but what I'm realizing is if we bring a bunch of faith leaders together to share their stories, then it's only the 30 to 50 people in the room. And yeah, you can do video, but what if faith leaders across the city started inviting others from other traditions to come and just share a moment of their faith in their congregation? Think what that could do for helping us understand and build bridges of compassionate concern for one another as people of faith from all different voices. So that's my thought I want to throw out there this morning.
It's a great thought, and it connects directly with what the Story Collaborative is doing.
The
So
Story
we had-
Collaborative, but also the Peace Initiative. I see a real intersection.
Right.
as well.
But the Story Collaborative is now in phase 2, and we have work study students from Alamo colleges who are companioning groups, organizations to, you know, so to do that exact listing that you're talking about. And so we could put somebody on that to help form it. And maybe the entry point, I'm just throwing this all out there, but is the Interfaith San Antonio Alliance. And they could be logged in there, but also then connected through the portal. But we have somebody, a young person, very excited about doing this work that can help make that happen, to make it a reality. Should we do that? That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, the current effort, I mean, Faith Lifts was a collaboration between Trinity University Chapel. So we had wonderful participation from Trinity students and the Soul Center and Interfaith San Antonio Alliance. So let's keep building.
Yeah. So
and thanks to the Raindrop House for hosting us. So I didn't want to miss that part of the collaboration as well.
And Lauren, look at her. She puts up a heart. We could all put up hearts today. I thought it was really informative. And you know, when we kind of came up with this idea, I told the mayor's office, I don't want to know the list. I want to hear the list with everyone else, you know, so it was really good to hear the list this morning. And I think I am going to, some of these we've had with us before, but it would be good to have all of them come and present at the intersection so we can get, you know, really connected. Any other thoughts, questions, ideas, connections?
And how do people get, is there information we can get involved in on the Peace Initiative? Where do we go to find that?
That would be me, as the mayor said.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. It's still in terms of like firming up how that's going to work. One thing I will tell you now, I'll just tell you a little bit more about it since we have time. There are 2 phases in this compassion education project. the first phase he talked about is education that will be made available. I put it in chat, but it's going to be designed here in San Antonio by Alamo College's district. It will probably be like movie shorts, short videos of 3, 6, 7 minutes, something like that, that are going to be on a systems approach to compassion. So somewhat from like leadership, but systems include family systems, as well as this system I sit in, as well as the healthcare system, but a systems approach. How do we look at lives that way? And of course, self-compassion and compassion with others. There will be modules on collective trauma and collective healing in a lot of response, but in regards to things like the pandemic, mass shootings, Uvalde. And there will be a section in it that are like the compassion basics. So self-compassion, the basics there, compassion with others, the basics there, compassion within systems. And all of those, the way it's being brought about, all of those will then be sent to every mayor of every city, town, and territory and be made available to all of them, including every person who lives in the United States and beyond, frankly, at no cost. So that in itself is a game changer. They will be online, they will be downloadable, they will be printed as well, and partnerships with Walmart, Target, and HEB to reach across the digital divide. Those printed copies will go into sales bags. So it's really giving the basic language and kind of entry point into compassion skills that end up looking like these top 10, right? So that's phase 1. And phase 2, which will be coming down the pike in 23, just after January, we'll start working on that. And that's probably, so in response to, and I just went back, I just had a brain gap. It happens, right? That's the phase 2 is probably where we're going to need more help. But there are curriculums. Some of you have gone through the Compassion Institute. There are curriculums that are much deeper. They're like the daily practicing and training, the compassion integrity training. There's one, all of these are well tested and vetted. Think Equal is pre-K. C learning from kindergarten through senior and high school to the compassionate integrity training. This will only be local, and the training and the curriculum will be made available to every educational institution in the city, from Head Start, pre-K 4 SA, all the school districts, all the college and university campuses. That it'll go out and be offered and invited into the process, but there'll be training for the educators, as well as the curriculum will be made available. Now, that is being offered to the rest of the country as a model, right? So this is what it would look like, but any city, town, or whatever who might be picking that part up, they're going to have to come up with their own funding to make it happen. So I hope that made sense. The phase 1 goes out to everyone at no cost. So we're giving compassion away, right? We're putting together a model of how you do that in a city through educational institutions. But we can't give that away because, for example, the curriculum isn't ours to give away, but we can model and show others how to do it. The entire process is $1 million project. And so the one thing I can tell you today, and half of that has already been secured. So one thing people can be doing today is contributing financially to that effort. And if they're interested in any way, just let me know and I'll point you on how that can work. So that part can be happening right now. But when we get closer into phase 2 in particular, we're going to need some more help with that. I think we got some experts working on phase 1. I know we do. And that's the other beautiful thing. It's all going to be produced here in San Antonio. And it's all going to be dedicated to every school in the US who has had a mass shooting. So we're doing it locally at phase 1, but it is for our entire country that we do it. And the world, frankly. So it's 8:45. Contact me if you have questions or thoughts. We're going to send the chat, and I wasn't watching the chat, so I can't wait to read it myself to see what you all said in terms of game changers. So thank you for all the work that you're doing in the world, for showing up at the intersection. And next week, we're going to be talking about, our briefing is going to be on collective trauma and collective healing. How do we heal as a community? And this will be the last collaborative for now that we'll be hearing from. So invite others next week, and we'll see you at the intersection. Bye all.